The family has asked us to announce that following interment, which will take place at Mount Olive Cemetery after this service, they will be returning to the Sherry Park Apartments social room at 2111 Acacia Park Drive in Lyndhurst, which is the north building. They will be receiving calls of condolence from their return from the cemetery until 4 p.m. and then 6 to 8 p.m. This evening, and also tomorrow from 1 to 4 p.m. and 6 to 8 p.m. There will be a minion service immediately upon return from the cemetery, and again this evening at approximately 7 p.m., and again on Thursday evening at about 7 p.m. The friends and loved ones are invited to make a contribution in Beverly's memory to the charity of their choice. Eshet chayil mi yimsa, v'rachok mipnin mi michra. What a precious find is a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She is good to him all the days of her life. She opened her hand to the needy and extended her hand to those in need. She was clothed with strength and splendor. She looked to the future cheerfully, opened her mouth with wisdom and her tongue with kindness. She oversaw the activities of her household, never ate the bread of idleness. Her children have come forward to bless her. Her husband, many women have done superbly, but you, Beverly, have surpassed them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hand, and wherever people gather, they will speak her praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, dayan haemet. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, the righteous judge. The prophet Job has taught us, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. God has given, but now taken away, and still we praise God's name. Mizmor David. Adonai ro'i lo echzar. Binot deshe yarmitzeni al mei menuchot yenahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev yanchileni v'ma agalei tzedek lema'an shemo. Gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo erara ki ata imadi. The Lord is our shepherd. We shall not want. God causes us to lie down in green pastures. God leads us beside still waters. God restores our soul for the sake of the right path in his name. Even when, at moments such as this, when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we fear no evil. You, God, are with us. Your rod and staff comfort us. That you prepare a table before us, even in the presence of our enemies. You anoint our heads with oil, and our cup overflows. Ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti leveit Adonai la'orech yamim. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all of the days of our lives, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Beverly, daughter of Sam and Irma, Bluma bat Zanvil V'Yochevet, is missed and mourned by her husband Jerry, by her children Alan and Percy and Sherry and Joel, by her sister Roselle and her sister Holly and her husband Ben, by her granddaughters Elena and Ellie, by her siblings-in-law Bernie and Tova, her nieces and nephews, and her dear friend Diane Henkin, as well as all whose lives were touched and blessed by hers. Elena and Percy will share some thoughts and their memories of Beverly.
Hi. Hello. Okay. My name's Elena. I am a granddaughter of Beverly, um, and I'll kind of be speaking for me and my sister Ellie over there. Um, all right. So, Beverly was my sister and I's grandmother. We met her back in 2005 when my mother was first dating Alan. At that time, we lived in a little apartment, and I remember that day being very excited to meet his parents. I was a very aloof child at that time, so I was like kind of like, ooh, I don't know who these people are. And so me and my sister cleaned up the apartment best we can. We even set up like the table with little stuffed animals, and we just, I don't know, what do you do when you're a little kid? So we tried our best. We even cleaned up like little like crayons off the wall. So we tried our best to make the place really nice. And I remember being really excited when we first met Jerry and Beverly for the first time. And um, from this, we kind of after after a while, after in 2005 in December, not December, but 2006, we first moved back home with Beverly and Jerry, and they welcomed us with open arms. I remember I spent a majority of my childhood, like kind of, Beverly would have her own little spot in the corner of a chair, and me and Elliot would usually spend most of our time in the living room playing with our toys while she would probably watch like Judge Judy or Jeopardy on the TV. Um, during that time, me and Ellie used to play outside a lot, and when we were outside, Beverly was usually out there sitting on the chair um, watching us from the porch, and Ellie and I were beating each other with some sticks one day. When you're a little kid, we were beating each other with sticks one day, and Ellie started twirling one of these sticks, and Beverly made a note that like, whoa, Ellie can twirl a stick. Maybe she should do baton. And guess what Ellie does now? She does baton because Beverly made that note that one day Ellie could twirl a stick, and she does it really well. Um, Bev taught me to embrace the skills of cooking and sewing. She taught me the most basic stitching that I go to art school now at CIA. What she taught me through stitching and crafting, and it basically has helped me go through school, basically survive through school right now. And I'm so glad that she taught me to do this. I remember when I was little, she used to do a lot of knitting, and I knit my first purple hat, and it was very terrible looking, but she thought it was really nice. And she encouraged me to continue on, even if it didn't look that great and fell apart after a while. She taught me how to make food, specifically like the matzo balls and potatoes, and more importantly, the horosis. Every single holiday, I do the horosis, and um, because after a while she got too old and couldn't do the horosis, so I did the horosis, and every Passover, I made the horosis in some new or creative, different way, and I eagerly wait the entire evening, like the whole service, waiting for her approval, waiting for her to say, "Oh, it's good," or "This is pretty good," or "It's there's too much alcohol in it." Like, and every year, even if she's gone, I'll still look for it. I'll still do it because it means a lot to me. Um, Not only was she a crafty lady in the kitchen, she was also really crafty everywhere else. She was very good at improvising. I remember when I was in first grade, I had to make a great horned owl diorama. And every kid in my class was getting fancy materials and figurines, and I didn't have any of that stuff, so Beverly helped me make this diorama. And she gave me a beautiful small owl pin that I'm wearing right now. She gave me a pin and helped me make the diorama. And I felt really proud of myself because I thought we worked really hard on this. Um, Beverly, out of everybody I knew, was owl crazy. She loved owls a lot. She had them everywhere in the house. She had them on her jewelry and everything. And it kind of rubbed off on me. And now I really like owls now. My parents still get me owl-themed things, and I still love it. So it's like, she really rubbed off on me. An owl is kind of like the symbolism for wisdom, intelligence, strong will, and most importantly, patience. And she was definitely a strong willed, patient, wise woman. Um, Bev was pretty much the matriarch of her house. When chaos and small petty fights would happen, nobody would mess with her because she usually broke up everybody. Um, I remember when I was little, when I had some bad news to share with my parents, I usually do it in front of the living room because she made it feel like the space was safe to talk to because if something were bad to happen, she would be kind of there to protect me from the outfall. Um, when she took no crap from no one pretty much. And I admired that a lot about her, her strong will and her passion. And even though she had a strong will, she had a very gentle touch. And I always turned to her to a lot of my problems that I was afraid of telling my parents. I turned to her for advice. In fact, when I was little, I committed the most heinous crime. I went on the computer when I was grounded without asking permission. And I turned to her and I basically confessed my crimes and I felt so terrible about doing this and she kind of just gave me a hug and she helped me emotionally cope with this before I had to tell my parents. So she was really great to come to. Usually, I don't try to impress people, but when I cook something or I made a piece of art, especially during my senior art of high school, I always showed her. One night last year, I made a salmon and candied sweet potatoes for the first time when Aunt Diane over there visited us. Aunt Diane to Beverly was like her super best friend, and she would visit all the time, and she would gossip on her phone with the hours, just like cool lady stuff, you know? And obviously, I was super reckless, and I slipped, and the entire vat of boiling water fell on me. But even though despite that whole thing happening, I continued on cooking, and I was really excited during the entire evening when Beverly said she really liked my cooking, and that made my entire evening better because I found validation that even though I was afraid of cooking, she thought it was really good. Because my biggest fear when cooking is seasoning stuff, and she usually made sure I didn't over-season everything. My dogs, Niles and Fraser, loved her a lot, and before they usually slept in her room, they usually slept downstairs with her in the room. They slept on her bed, they slept on the couch next to her, and Niles, my other dog, loved sleeping on her lap. My sister is a makeup enthusiast, and when she got her first professional makeup palette, Ellie was very excited to tell Beverly about it, and she even told Beverly that she would do her makeup one day. Whatever beauty stuff Beverly was into, Ellie would probably show her skills and newfangled accessories to her and everyone around. Beverly rubbed off on me and my sister and impacted a lot of things that we appreciate to this day. Old-timey metaphors, she said that were pretty cool, like, you stop that or I'll hang you by your toes, you know? Her passion for cooking, her creative approach to even the minuscule of things, and especially her love for Broadway. No matter how much Mamma Mia she played at like 3 in the morning, blasting from the living room, I never got tired of it. I could listen to Dancing Queen and never get sick of it. And I still find it catchy. Beverly was always there for our family and believed that she came to, and even though in the later years, she still believed that she came to every single hockey, soccer game, and to every single Ellie's baton competitions till the day she passed. And my sister and I are glad to have known and loved her, even if it wasn't that long. She was there for almost all of her lives, and she made her family strong, faithful, open, creative, and loving. And I know she's at peace, probably somewhere she's at peace somewhere with little old Mickey sitting at the bottom of her feet. Thank you.
One of Bev's favorite characters was Tyler Perry's Medea. And she famously said in a Medea family reunion, which we've seen a million times, "I only go to church for 2 reasons, weddings and funerals. Which one it gonna be today?" I think Beverly answered that for us. Thanks. I met Beverly July 2006, and it was the first date for Alan and I. I was really nervous, but she greeted me with that big, beautiful smile she was known for. I was immediately at ease. I was also hooked. The Gershens were never, ever getting rid of me. Bev took me and the girls in, made us part of the family, no questions asked. I lived with her for 13 years. She was my second mom. We used to spend hours talking or watching movies like Legally Blonde. We watched that one probably 100 times. We shared a love of movies from the 1960s like Gidget and Where the Boys Are. She loved watching Monk marathons and the Aurora Tea Garden mysteries. And we all loved watching Big Bang Theory and the Goldbergs together as a family. As Elena said, she loved Broadway musicals. Mamma Mia was her favorite. She loved watching the Medea movies. I think we've seen them all together. 2 of them we got to see in the theaters with her. Beverly taught me how to make matzo balls. She taught the girls how to bake. She came to as many of the girls' events as she could. She especially loved going to Ellie's baton twirling competitions. Bless her for that one. She was even able to muster up enough energy to come to Elena's graduation party. It was her first public appearance in years. As friends and family can attest, Bev loved regaling us with stories, sometimes repetitively. I can't tell you how many times I had to hear about the big burly bikers that showed up at the draft board, or her terrible honeymoon sunburn. But I would never trade those stories for anything. I will miss her talking about how much she hated lima beans, but she was afraid to tell Jerry's mom because she didn't like them. I will miss her graphic detailed story of when Sherry was born. I will miss her laugh and how she always had an open ear to anyone who needed it. I will miss everything about her. Bev exuded warmth, kindness, and love. I will never forget how her eyes lit up when Elena wore her cap and gown from graduation at the nursing home so that Bev could see her in it. She was so proud of both of the girls, and she should be. Elena and Ellie are the incredible women they are today, in large part due to Beverly. She was also super proud of Alan and Sherry. I know this because she would talk about them when they weren't around. They were her world. Even the stories where Alan was less than an angel, she would twist into a humorous anecdote and cautionary tale. She loved to talk about how Sherry had enjoyed riding horses as a child. And the love between Bev and Jerry? How many decades? And how they truly stuck to those vows of better or worse, sickness and health. I've never seen a couple go through what they did and come out with the levels of love, humor, and empathy that they have. It's like a Hallmark movie, really. It's definitely relationship goals. We should all be so lucky. I could go on about how amazing Bev was, but we'd be here for the next month because she really was that amazing. She will be missed sorely. I will miss her informing me that she will be cooking the Passover Seder dinner, despite not being physically able to do so. I think we will all miss that because it was adorable. She tried. Her heart was in the right place. Watching Legally Blonde and Monk without her sounds impossible right now. I will not have to resist buying out figurines for her. She won't be there to annoy everyone by egging on our dogs, Niles and Fraser, so that someone, usually Jerry, would have to take them out for a walk even though they didn't need to go. She did that on purpose for entertainment. I know she did. She won't be here to kvetch about the light on the house across the street that's way too bright. There's now a big hole left. But I think there's enough of her memory and her impact on our lives that we will be able to fill in that hole. In time, it will be healed. Beverly, we love you and will miss you for the rest of our lives, but we will never let you disappear. You will never be forgotten. You will always be in our lives. With every Al figurine, with every matzo ball, with every Hallmark movie, every time that freaking light across the street shines through our window, with every flower that blooms in the garden, with every bird that visits our home, Every time Sherry laughs because she inherited your infectious laughter. Every time the dogs bother Jerry to go out even when they just came in, we will know it's you. Every time a holiday or Shabbat candle is lit. Every time the rest of us forget a prayer but you would have remembered it. You will be with us for the rest of our days in all your little ways. To quote a Josh Groban song, for always and forever, 1,000 tomorrows will cross the sky, and for always and always, we will go beyond goodbye. This is not goodbye. We will see you in the beyond. We love you.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, our God, God of our ancestors. Even 1,000 years in your sight are as a passing day, as a watch in the night. Our generations come and go, but you, God, endure forever. We are always in your hand, Adonai, in death as in life. Help those who mourn Bev to look beyond this moment, to realize that death cannot destroy the bonds of your everlasting love. Sustain us that you, with the knowledge afforded by our faith, that you will not allow us to suffer oblivion. For you, O Eternal One, have taught us the way of life, and through you we gain eternity. V'nomar, and we say, Amen. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Percy. We should just note that Bev and Jerry met at a dance at the JCC. Jerry, I understand, was sort of made to go to the dance by his mother. But when they met, they both went home to their respective parents and both said that they were going to marry the man and the woman that they had met that evening at the dance that their parents pushed them into going to. They've had wonderful 50 years of relationship, as you heard, and 48 years of marriage, including what I understand were somewhat provocative birthday cakes from time to time. Joel remembers that Bev, his mother-in-law, always wanted to know how he and his grandmother and his family were doing. She always wanted to make sure they were okay, and somehow she remembered Joel even at moments when she did not remember other members of her family. And even in her declining years, she remained connected. Her memory is now a blessing, along with all the things that she taught her granddaughters, her family, and all of those whose lives she touched. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of the righteous, is indeed a blessing. Please rise. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen B'Maromim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, B'Malot Kedoshim U'Tohorim, Kizohar HaRakia Mazhirin, Et Nishmat Bluma Bat Zanvil V'Yochevet, Shahalcha Le'olama, B'Gan Eden Tiyeh Menuchata, Ana Bal HaRachamim, Hastireha B'Seiter Knafecha L'Olamim, Utzror B'Tzor HaChaim Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachlata, V'Tanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkava, V'Nomar, Amen. Exalted and compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, to the soul of Beverly Gershen, daughter of Sam and Irma Lockspizer. Merciful One, may she find perfect peace in your sheltering embrace. May Bev's soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life, and may she rest in peace. And we say, Amen.